If dreams can exist in a world like this, don't abandon them. You need to embrace all that you are. Stare fear in the face.
Morning, y'all. Sorry I'm late. When the VA calls, you answer, because when they leave you a voicemail and you try to call them back, it doesn't really work. So I'm a little bit late. Bear with me. We're trying to figure out this new schedule, and apparently at 10:07 a.m. is when the VA likes to call me every damn day. I have not talked to these people in 2 years, and now they want to call me all day, every day. That's probably why. Not recommended to not go to the doctor for 2 years when you have chronic health conditions, because once you start talking to them again for things other than just med refills, they will call you every day. Anyway, here we are, the first morning Squid stream in a long time. Bear with me while I try to figure out this new phase of life. I don't have my hair done, don't have makeup done, because your girl has not been sleeping for reasons such as my 4-year-old is in school now. Girl had a great day yesterday. Baby girl killed it yesterday. Awesome day. Today, I went to leave and she had a meltdown, which triggered a meltdown for mom. But her teacher is amazing and had her and handled it, and she didn't even notice that I walked out the door. So hopefully she's good. I haven't gotten any messages on the app yet saying she's got problems, so yeah. However, apologize for my tardiness. Today, we're talking Afroman's new lawsuit. But filing this new lawsuit. Okay, original lawsuit that was filed against him. 9 people, 7 people, something like that. Don't quote me. I don't remember. It's been a long morning. Over the videos he made after they raided his home, and the $400 issue, and the pound cake. Everyone remembers the lemon pound cake. But now Afroman is suing back. However, there's only one defendant, Brian Newland. He didn't sue everybody. And I have questions. What made Brian different? What was his involvement in the original lawsuit? Is there going to be more lawsuits coming? Were certain allegations that he made about Afroman different? Was Brian's testimony different? Was he the quote-unquote ringleader? And none of this is fact. These are questions that I had when reading this lawsuit. So we are going to read this lawsuit together and discuss. It's only 8 pages. It should not take us that long to get through. But there will be some questions. And you know me, like, I read stuff and I'm like, I just have questions. So why not share my questions with y'all? Get your opinion, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a lawyer. I just like to know shit. So I ask questions. My parents taught me that word why, and I never stopped asking it. However, let's clarify a few things before we get into the actual documents. This is not a where are the receipts. This is an initial complaint, and as we know, an initial complaint just has to have the plausibility that it is true. It does not have to have all receipts and everything provided. That is what happens in discovery. A complaint does not have to provide every detail or prove every claim. This is just my questions regarding what was mentioned in this. But the real investigation, and I've been looking at certain things in regards to this, is there a plausible connection between Brian's alleged conduct in this complaint and the damages? And that's another question. Who here watched every second of that original trial? Because I watched on and off, just like I do all trials. I pay attention, but I'm not staring at my computer for all hours of the day because, life. But we are going to some things will be rehashed from the original trial. And I also had to get clearance from a couple people that I know in order to talk about this case, just in case I piss off the Adams County Sheriff. Because when I had family members who, at the time of their passing, lived in Adams County, Ohio. So I wanted to make sure that there was no retribution on my family members for me pissing off the Adams County Sheriff, because there will be a guarantee that I will say something that they don't like, because that's just what I do. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah. You watched at 1.5. No, really did, because the local channel didn't cover it all. Well, the funny thing about that is there is no local channel. Adams County is in such a place where I think it hits Cincinnati channels, but it's like an hour and a half from Cincinnati. So it's not, it's rural. It's very rural. Kids usually act different in school than at home. Just saying. Yeah, I know they do. But it hurt my mama heart just watching her cry. Yeah. Anyway, if you don't know me and this is your first time on my channel, I'm Squid, also known as Heather, because people have used my first name in the past. So why not just lean into it? I am not a lawyer. I'm an occupational therapy assistant, a lymphedema therapist, and a certified corrective exercise specialist. However, I am also a stay-at-home mom and someone who just likes to ask questions and doesn't like when shit doesn't make sense and doesn't like when people act like assholes. And this document that I have on my other screen right here is just people acting like assholes. People flipping off security cameras who are sheriff's deputies flipping off security cameras is just acting like assholes. Oh yes, Pike County, you're another one whose sheriff likes the booger sugar. Well, maybe not this current sheriff, but a former sheriff likes the booger sugar. Allegedly, in Minecraft-ish. So, yep. The counties all around there, the county east of there and the county north of that, are also really bad for drugs. When I was going to school there, I was introduced to drugs for the first time in 6th grade. So it's a real issue there. Like it's a real issue there. Yeah. All right. So we are going to look at the allegations in the complaint. We are going to just talk about it. We might get to the testimony from the prior trial. I doubt we will get to that today. And the evidence. We probably won't get to the first trial today, just because I'm trying to figure out how this new schedule is working. So we're taking things slow. Let's put it that way. However, we are going to get to the document. Ooh. There we go. And I usually don't stream this early, so like my brain is still trying to figure out how the world works, because there's a difference between being conscious and being able to like do things around the house early in the morning and maybe get in a workout early in the morning, but like cognitively, now getting up at 5:30 every morning, I have never been a morning person. And now I'm like even less of a morning person the older I get, and now I'm forced to be a morning person. It, we're in a world of the dark circles are real. I have no makeup on. We're here. Scioto County as well. Portsmouth is a hotbed for fun, if you know what I mean. Not like I've been there. Morning, Amos girl. How are you? Also, welfare fraud. Well, it's the start. It's like the back half of Appalachia. So if you kind of stereotype the Appalachian people, redneck. I hate to be like that, but like I was one of them people. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Went to school. Yeah. I remember going field trips to Shawnee State. Like, if you know, you know. A lot of my friends went to Rio Grande for college. Like, if you know, you know. Like, those are colleges that you really only hear about if you're actually there. All right, so this was filed July 27th. So Brian Newland is the only defendant. And that was the first thing that that I wouldn't say that first part of that, but like clicky. If you're not from there, but so is the South. Like if you're in a small town in the South and you weren't like born and raised there, or you haven't tried your damnedest to assimilate, or you haven't married someone from there, you kind of, I didn't say they weren't good folk. My sister is a redneck, all right? Like, yo, my sister is redneck through and through. My stepsister, technically speaking, but once a sister, always a sister. Like, however, good morning to you. Oh, and I have one of your books. Now that I'm alone during the day, it's very quiet in this house, and I'm going to start reading. Hopefully. That's part of the goal. But Mr. Squid told me I should take a nap. I'm like, oh, whoa, thanks for that. Like, so my first question that came up was a whole bunch of people sued him for almost $4 million. I think the total was like 3.9. Like I said, it's early in the morning for me. It's 10:30, but like cognitively, I only function well in a certain window. But a bunch of people sued him. And he's only suing one person back, which to me was like red flag. And it's just, are there going to be separate lawsuits for each individual person that he plans on suing because he's suing them for different things? Or is this going to be the only one? I don't know the answers to these questions. Everything I say today that is not read straight from the documents is speculation. It's everything I say today that is not read straight from the documents is purely my speculation and questions that I just have. So, Joseph Foreman, aka Afroman, is a resident of Adams County. This court has jurisdiction. We don't care. Of course, they have jurisdiction. They had jurisdiction in the last one. Why would they not have it this time? Not my area of concern. So, on or about March 31st, 2023, defendant filed a civil lawsuit against plaintiff in Adams County Court of Common Pleas. The lawsuit filed by defendant against plaintiff alleged unauthorized use of individual persona, invasion of privacy by misappropriation, invasion of privacy, false light publicity, invasion of privacy, unreasonable publicity given to private lives, and later added defamation. So this paragraph is just interesting to me on multiple levels, relating to multiple different personalities on the internet. If these people could not win a defamation case when they truly are more private figures than, say, someone with a YouTube channel, flipsy lipsy, no way in hell you are ever going to get anything for invasion of privacy when you've put your children and other people's children and everything about your life on the fucking internet. Nice try, bitch. There's one. And secondly, it just shows how hard defamation is to prove in a court of law. Just because you don't like something that someone says about you or that someone makes fun of you does not make something defamation. The costs. More defendants means more defense lawyers, which means more motions to answer, all of which are additional cost to plaintiff. I get that. However, Afroman is rich. So, like, Afroman is one of those people who I feel like when it comes to getting justice, he doesn't give a shit about the cost because he will just work and make money and pay for it. So I see your point for like the average person, but for Afroman, if he wanted to sue somebody and he thought he had a case, I don't see him, and I don't know him. We aren't friends. That would be a really cool friend to have. I'm just saying. I have family that lives like a half an hour from there. If you ever want to grab a beer when I go to visit, look me up. Yeah, the invite that'll never get answered. Will I ever have a conversation with Afroman? Hell to the no. But a girl can dream. Just saying. Just saying. Clock it. Anyway. Anyway, I just see him being like the Jeremy Hales type. If he feels like he can win something, it doesn't matter if he has to go to the ends of the earth to do it. He's going to do it. And Unhung Hero, thanks for the $2 super chat. I saw your other $2 super chat late in Rackets, where we're not going there. I explained to you why, but thanks for the $2. And $2, thanks for the other $2. Take that, bitch. And hey, DR to Most, how are you? Isn't that what they said at Normandy? That would be funny if they did. Yeah. True. But I'm wondering if he has a plan. Because his lawyer seems competent, unlike some people. Maybe instead of trying to get a convoluted 30 to 40 page lawsuit where you're having multiple defendants with not all the same accusations, he's the only one with certain accusations, so they're putting him separately. Or this could be the only person that they end up suing completely. Like I said, all speculation. I don't actually talk to Afroman to know the answers. So it's all guessing game. It's just fun to talk about because I like to see, don't get me wrong, I am a support law enforcement, but I am also a one bad apple spoils the bunch. So if we can get the corrupt and the awful and the assholes and the people that take advantage of their positions and power out of power and have them be held accountable, I'm a happy person. So, yeah, it could be a test case. That's very possible too. Defendant's lawsuit against plaintiff was commenced and prosecuted for improper purposes, including to harass and maliciously injure plaintiff. Claims asserted by defendant against plaintiff in the prior lawsuit were not warranted under existing law and could not be supported by a good faith argument for the extension, modification, or reversal of existing law. The allegations and factual contentions made by defendants in the prior lawsuit had no evidentiary support. Defendant should have known that the claims asserted against plaintiff lacked legal merit and factual basis. This is where filing a lawsuit because you're mad and you got your feelings hurt. You can't just file a lawsuit because you got your feelings hurt. That's not how this shit works. It's not how this shit works. And then people wonder why our court system is backed up and you can't get a court date, especially in like family court. Family court, I feel like, is the worst because you can't get a court date for weeks, months, because things are backed up. But yet you have parents that are getting a divorce that's in family court that can't act like freaking adults and do what's best for their children because their egos get in the way. But yet we're supposed to treat them like adults when they can't act like adults. It's the damnedest thing. Defendants knew or should have known that the lawsuit would cause plaintiff to incur substantial costs, expenses, and emotional distress. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's frivolous lawsuit, plaintiff was forced to defend against the baseless claims. Attorney's fees in excess of $25,000. Well, yeah, a 3-year lawsuit, you're definitely spending more than $25,000. Like, it's probably, that's probably like, oh, I can't even begin to guess, but I know of a lawyer that charges $1,200 or $1,100 an hour. Like, do the math on that. Plaintiff suffered emotional distress, anxiety, and reputational harm as a result of defendant's frivolous lawsuit. Devil's advocate, this is all about who you ask. Because he got a lot of positive publicity out of this too. I'm just saying, people who haven't heard of Afroman in years, like since the 'Cause I Got High days, are now listening to his music again. Not to say that he doesn't have a case, just playing devil's advocate on how much reputational harm can you prove when people are thinking you're more popular than ever. Just a thought. Plaintiff lost time from work, suffered economic damages in an amount in excess of $25,000 as a result of the need to respond to and defend against frivolous lawsuit. On or about March 18th, the prior lawsuit was resolved in the plaintiff's favor on all counts. All right. So count 1, malicious prosecution. Defendant initiated and continued civil proceedings against plaintiff by filing prosecuting the lawsuit described above. That took time, effort, money. Defendant acted with malice or a primary purpose other than that of securing a proper adjudication of the claim which the proceedings were based. Malicious prosecution is an interesting one because I feel like this is I'm going to sue you because I can, not because there's anything there. Just one of those like interesting developments. And whatever you think of the first case, they raided his home basically from what I understand. And like I said, didn't really pay super close attention to all the documents in the first case. But they raided his home on what sounds like either a false warrant or like a swatting type of situation. But then proceeded to act like assholes is the only way I can describe it when walking around his house. The lemon pound cake, the money, flipping off his security cameras, breaking down the door. like causing damage and then not going, oh my God, we fucked up. Here, let us pay to fix it. Or here's how you can file a complaint with the county and have the county reimburse you to fix that because shit, we made a mistake. Like, you know, it's Bruce Rivers is not his attorney. Not his attorney. It's just him winning that first case makes this a lot more plausible. Yeah, that's what I think, but I haven't gone through all the documents from the first case, so I don't actually know 100% for sure, and so many other cases and documents have dropped in other things since then, and I don't want to speak on something that I have not recently read. I could be confusing two cases together, and that's not what I want to do. So it's you know, supposedly he was doing things with his basement and the house didn't have one. Yeah, I don't know about most other places in Ohio, but the area of Ohio that I lived in, not far from here, and the house that I spent time in this county, in West Union, did not have a basement. So claiming, if that's true, that claiming someone was doing something in a basement, that doesn't actually, storm cellars do exist though. We had a storm cellar at my house. So that is plausible. Devil's advocate, it's not technically a basement, but some houses do have storm cellars, and mine had a storm cellar. So, but my grandmother's house at the time did not even have a storm cellar, no basement, no cellar. So, you know, it's weird. I understand for normal things, but an officer should know pocketing money and jewelry during a warrant search is illegal. And yes, that happened. Yeah, and that's part of what I have questions with, and why I think that he won't be the only one sued, but I think he was the first one sued. And I think it has to do, at least with his public statement, was the $400. But obviously, you can't just sue someone for $400. I mean, you can in small claims, but this is not small claims. So maybe that's why he's first, was he's the one who admitted to miscounting the money. Like I said, things could, you know. Derek Cruz shooting was during a search warrant based solely on anonymous source and weed stems in roadside trash. Cost county in suit, but doesn't bring Derek back. And that's my thing is, like, I was watching Donut Operator I want to say last week, and he literally got swatted live while he was streaming. Had to go outside, left the stream up so you could see the sheriffs in his streaming, or in his studio, talking about his pew collection. But it was like, that could have easily gone the other way. So these people who make these anonymous reports, you would think we are in 2026, that GPS and phone tracing, with as much as they want to say that it doesn't exist, they can listen in on things and they can figure things out a lot easier than they're willing to tell you. So why can't anonymous sources not be anonymous? You might want to keep their names out of the press. However, anonymous doesn't mean anonymous. We have enough technology and information to figure out who these people are. And if you get a phone call, an anonymous tip from 3 states away or overseas, red flag, anybody? I just, yeah, I know. Or at sea level. Like here, where the soil is just so, I really wish I could, yeah, I really wish I could have a basement. That's why joking that Spawn Trooper lives in my basement is so damn funny because I don't have one. And people believe it. It's hilarious to me. People don't really believe it anymore because they got the joke. But like people used to actually think that. Oh, caffeine. Sweet, sweet caffeine. It is so damn quiet in this house. And you will see me periodically look at the door. I am still not used to being by myself. This is weird. This is very, very weird for me to be by myself. Uncle Hero, thanks for the $5 super chat. Donut made the rookie mistake of doxing himself on stream, pulled a quartering and showed the wrong window. Yeah, well, luckily, even if I turned my camera around, you can see a window, but you can't see out of it. Like, it's kind of nice like that. You can't, like, excuse my messy room, but like you can't see. There's my window. Oh, there's a shelf that I'm going to be putting together today, hopefully. And there's a trampoline. But AP, he was swatted again. This was like, I want to say like last Friday, not like last Friday, but like the Friday before or Saturday or something like that. So he was swatted again. Because that was the one where the cop was like, he's got a lot of guns. Holy shit, I'm jealous. Or something like that. I can't remember exactly what was said. But anyway, getting back to this, it's just the anonymous. And like, I hate to be that kind of person because I never instantly like try to pull this card. However, this area and the fact that Afroman is obviously not white and this area is mostly white, I don't want to be that kind of person. However, I'm thinking somebody had something against him. Of course, Mark Najam broke it off in county behind Derek family. Woo-hoo. Mark Najam is a national treasure. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, to have a conversation with him would be amazing. It's like the list of people who are like just being able to say that I've spoken to in my life would be amazing. Under like not I need to hire him kind of standards. One off camera before you got a stream started. Jeez. Donut gonna have to move again. Yeah. Luckily for us, one of my good friends, her husband is a deputy sheriff. So we're and I made friends with the coroner. So make that what you will. Just saying. All right. I didn't mean that to sound nearly as like nefarious as it came out. It was like I just started making friends with people, and one of the people I made friends with is the coroner. All right. Count 2, abusive process. Defendant made use of legal process, to wit, filing and prosecution of civil lawsuit against plaintiff. Defendant employed the legal process for an ulterior or improper purpose to harass, intimidate, and injure plaintiff. Yep. They're embarrassed. So what do? They lash out and they use the power that they think they have. It's kind of the playbook. When someone says something that another person doesn't like, what do? They run and they go, this is who my friends are. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to online, cyber stalk, whatever they have claimed to do. It is an ulterior motive because they got their feelings hurt. Not everybody in this world is going to like you. If everybody in this world liked me, would have a whole lot more than 17 people watching right now. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. However, if you are one of those 17 people watching and you haven't hit that like button yet, can you please try? Can you please try? Thanks for the $5 super chat, Unknown Hero. I made friends with the coordinator, Mr. Squid. Blink twice if you're in danger. Mr. Squid is fine. It's the people who... I'm just gonna not. It's the Minecraft people that think that there are no consequences to actions. There's consequences to actions. There's consequences to actions. And when you don't like when someone says and you lash out and you try to do this, you try to intimidate them with threats, or you file lawsuits against them that have no merit, this is what happens. Have they never heard of the Streisand effect? No one would know who these damn deputies are except for the small sliver of the population who listens to Afroman music. Not saying that he's not popular. However, there's 330 million people in this country. Not all of them listen to Afroman. But I guarantee you, a lot more people who don't even listen to Afroman know who these small town sheriff's deputies are. Because they decided to be an asshole and try to get money, basically extort money out of someone. A jury didn't see through it, or a jury saw through it. It went nowhere, and now there's a larger section of the population, even people who don't listen to Afroman, who would never be into Afroman's kind of music, who listen to certain songs because they can laugh at this. It's like when you try to strike someone's channel for using your name or talking about you. More people are going to wonder. It's the Streisand effect. More people are going to wonder who you are and why you're acting foolish. Sometimes it's better to just keep your mouth shut and fade into the sunset. People might know your image in a music video, but they're not going to actually know who you are in person. But now everybody who watched that trial knows what your real face looks like, knows what county you live in, knows where that county is, can point that county out on a map. Just saying. Sometimes it's better to just keep your mouth shut. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe's. Some are working not at home. You were cared about. I appreciate that. This Streisand effect isn't taught in school. It has to be learned through experience. It's a very... when I first heard of this case, I thought Afroman was a cologne. Now I know. I have never, even though I've been introduced to banned substances, street pharmaceuticals, as some people call them, more than once, I have never, outside of using a bottled substance named Black Beauty, one time in 8th grade, I have never done something that hasn't been prescribed to me. However, my favorite song my freshman year of high school was "'Cause I Got High." Having only been high once in my life, my favorite song my freshman year was "'Cause I Got High," rapping it like I lived in the inner city when I lived in rural Kentucky. Make that one make sense. Just saying. uh, it's a cologne that smells like Hennessy. Oh my god. Oh. I think in my freshman year, I didn't realize that Afroman's first name wasn't Afroman. Yeah. So you can do with that one what you will. Wow, you sound like my dad. Oh my goodness. All right, the use of process was not proper. They acted with malice, with knowledge of the process, and was being used for an improper purpose. A direct and proximate result of defendant's abusive process, plaintiff has suffered damages, including attorney's fees, cost, lost wages, emotional distress, and reputational harm. Once again, the reputational harm, I'm not sure how to prove that one. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so we can make of that one what you will. But this one will be interesting to see how that's proved. Because I have found, and yes, he probably scheduled around hearings, but there's some interesting questions about lost wages. Did he have to cancel shows? Did he have to turn down venues or turn down contracts because he had a court hearing or the trial? I could not find any documented evidence of canceled shows because of the trial dates. However, I think 11 days after the trial, there was an Alabama appearance. Or is it? No, San Antonio. And he was on he was on the like poster for the show or whatever. And then it changed and it said due to unforeseen circumstances. I have no evidence that that was connected to anything related to the trial. However, I have no evidence that it wasn't related. So, technically, I'm old enough to be Squid's father. Holy crap, I'm old. Well, I don't know what to tell you on that one. Here's another interesting one. Count 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Plaintiff realleges and incorporates the above paragraphs. Defendant's conduct in filing and prosecuting a frivolous lawsuit against plaintiff was extreme and outrageous. Defendant intended to cause plaintiff emotional distress or recklessly disregard the near certainty that such distress would result from defendant's conduct. Defendant's conduct did in fact cause plaintiff to suffer serious emotional distress. This is always one to me that is super hard to prove. Morning, Flash fan. Is super hard to prove. But I would be very interested to see what comes out in discovery if this makes it this far. Because this will require, like, I am no lawyer. However, from a medical professional and documentation, if it did, from a medical side of things, if it's not documented, it did not happen. So if you ever feel like someone else caused your significant trauma, you better see someone. And you ever think that that's going to end up in a lawsuit. Ever think. It's one of the main motivations that I think people should go to therapy, in addition to just helping themselves. That's kind of the obvious number one. But if you are ever in a lawsuit and you say they caused me emotional distress, the judge is going to be like, prove it. Well, the best way to prove it is by you going to your therapist and discussing it. And the therapy notes will be most likely private. However, they will be seen in the court system, and you will have at least some evidence of the fact that that person, your mental health, and that person are related. I am not trying to tell anyone to file lawsuits for intentional. That is not, I do not provide legal advice, medical advice. I don't provide any advice on this channel. However, if you ever think that something is going to, it's kind of like a VA claim. Like if you're in the military and you ever get an injury, don't just try to tough it out. Go your ass to medical. Get that shit documented, because that shit will never be handled by the VA properly if you didn't take the time to document it when you were in. Try not to be the superhero and get your ass to medical and get some damn documentation in your records. That is the only way, because if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Same thing with this. So I'd be very interested to see how this works and how he proves this. I have never personally, that's not to say it hasn't happened because I'm not a lawyer. However, in the cases that I have looked at where someone has done a count for intentional infliction of emotional distress, it has never worked out. That's not to say it doesn't happen because I am not a lawyer. I never claim to be one, and I don't want to be one. I'll only sue someone over burned hamburgers. Oh, Flash fan, do I have a story for you for another day? I am unaffected by caffeine in the wake me up sense. I took several caffeine pills, nothing after hours. A sugary drink, though, woke me right up. I don't know. It's like I am, but I'm not. I don't know. But I could drink, like, it's weird because I could drink one of these and take a nap. I'm not sure. It's got to be doing something, though. Besides creating a very impressive addiction. Defendant's conduct did in fact cause plaintiff to suffer serious emotional distress. Plaintiff suffered from anxiety, sleeplessness, and other manifestations of severe emotional distress as a direct result of defendant's conduct. Not that I don't believe him, but this is, I think, going to be another one where I really hope he went to the doctor and got this all documented. Also, this will be interesting as to how courts treat a man complaining of emotional issues. Let's be honest. The courts treat men and emotional issues like they treat women and medical issues. If you know, you know. I'm lurking. You're keeping me from losing my mind. Hey, Vacay Vineyard Vixen, what you doing that you're possibly losing your mind? And I'm glad I could help you stay sane today, because y'all are helping me stay sane. Because Vineyard Vixen, I don't know if you just tuned in or you've been here from the start, but this is my daughter's second day of school ever. So my house is empty right now, and I don't know what to do with myself. Like I've got laundry in. I did the dishes. You know, you did the normal clean the house stuff. And like, do I take a nap? Do I go out for a run? Do I eat myself into a food coma? Like, what do I do here? Like, yeah, I have this right now. I will probably, when I'm done streaming, go take a quick nap. Oh, airport drama. That's always fun. Well, I hope you get to where you need to go safely and as cheaply as possible. And I hope your bags make it there too. As someone from who used to work in aviation, that's always a fun experience for both sides. So yeah, we all know it's mostly hysteria. Yeah. Okay. um, our courts do not handle mental health issues well for anybody. Certain things need to catch up to 2026. We don't need to coddle mental health issues, but we also need to we need to admit that mental health issues do manifest in people's behaviors. And I'm reading a book right now that uh, talks about, and I'm only in chapter 1, so don't judge me too bad. But the first the first chapter and the preface was literally like, I looked at crime in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and looked how it changed. And I always thought that it was the criminal and their environment, or the environment of the criminal, that adjusted or that affected, we just helped them out, provide them with jobs. And as he did more research, it sounds like he figured out that criminals are just bad people. It doesn't matter if they're in the inner city or they're in the lap of luxury. If a criminal is going to criminal, which is an interesting conundrum. And I have to figure out the nuance of that in the rest of the book, but it's a very interesting way of addressing it. But it goes back to this, and our mental health and our brain has more to do with our behaviors than our environment. Mental health issues are wild, yeah, and so many people sweep them under the rug like they're not a big deal, but they are a big deal. They are a big deal, whether it's anxiety and depression or it's psychosis and schizophrenia. Like, they're a big deal no matter what. They should be treated no differently than, say, a broken arm, a broken ankle, a busted knee, kidney issues, liver, internal organs. Your brain is an internal organ. Why is brain health so different than, say, heart health? We take care of our heart. We have no problem getting heart issues treated. Well, why is it that the brain is so hard to treat and so stigmatized? It's an interesting conversation, maybe not for this stream, but that intentional infliction of emotional distress and the fact that he's a man bringing that charge, or bringing that count up, is it brings up an interesting discussion. So, and I'd really be interested to see if it works. Count 4, tortious interference with contract. This is where it got really, really interesting, and I didn't really know where to, my questions just started, uh, my questions my questions really started with this count right here. Plaintiff, at all times relevant to this court, a valid and enforceable contract existed between plaintiff and various music venues. Seems logical when he's a rapper that he would tour, have contracts with venues. Defendant had knowledge of the contracts between plaintiff and various music venues. How how does Brian Newland have connections with promoters in the Midwest? I that was my first, what? Huh? I just don't. And like I tried to think of ways that would he have found out from social media? Did he have to reach out and contact these venues himself and ask if Afroman was going to perform there? Because that seems like a lot of work. I just don't, even performers that I pay attention to their touring schedule, I don't really like, how did he know about Ung Hero, thanks for the $20 super chat. Sheriff's office in Indiana is going to soon learn a lesson about handling folks with mental health issues after my aunt and uncle finished suing them for shooting my cousin. Oh, damn. Oh, that requires a stiff drink that I don't have. Well, if you want anybody to read those documents and put that sheriff's department on blast, you know who to contact. Not that I have a very big audience, but just saying. All right. Defendant intentionally procured the breach of contract between plaintiff and various music venues by filing and prosecuting the frivolous lawsuit against plaintiff. This is another one that'll be, obviously, these are just allegations. And obviously, in an initial complaint, he doesn't have to provide the proof. However, it will be interesting if this makes it to discovery to see the evidence, because holy crap. Yeah. Defendant acted with the purpose or desire to interfere with the performance of the contract or knew the interference was certain or substantially certain to occur as a result of defendant's actions. And I'm wondering how Afroman knew, not only Brian Newland, if this is true, taking this as true, not only how did Brian know about the contracts, how did Afroman know Brian knew about the contracts and acted purposely to interfere with them? Did he know somebody that spilled the beans? It's one of those questions that it's just the who knew who and how and when, and if extra actions were taken. And Unhung Hero, I remember when you told me about that originally happening. That was not, it's, guys, that wasn't recent that happened. However, the lawsuit is. In determining whether the defendant acted improperly, the following factors demonstrate the improper nature of defendant's conduct. The conduct was malicious and designed to harm plaintiff's business relationships. Defendant's motive was to injure plaintiff rather than to advance any legitimate interest. The interest interfered with plaintiff's contractual and economic relationships. Side note, but I want to let you know before I forget, the Tupac trial starts on the 10th. Oh, goodness. Guess what we're doing? I also have to check on Sarah Grace Patrick, because that trial was supposed to start soon, but the defense asked for an extension, and we'll see. I never checked to see whether they got it or not. So it also means they will get to see inside Afroman's side of the contracts. I wonder if it's worth it. I don't think he cares. I really don't think he cares. And from doing some research on the Googles, it doesn't seem like I mean, he's not making hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s per appearance. So if he was, maybe then, but like $39,000 to $50,000 seems like the rough estimate. Yes, that's still a lot of money. Don't come at me in the comment section. I know that's a lot of money. However, compared to like a Jay-Z or a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift or name your pick your poison. $39,000 to $50,000 per appearance is not all that much money. So, all right. The relationship between plaintiff and various music venues was a legitimate business relationship deserving of protection. Yeah, it's a contract. But here's the thing. Why is he going to sue the vendors for breach or venues for breach of contract? Because he literally states defendant intentionally procured a breach of contract between the plaintiff and various music venues. Who actually did the breach of contract? The plaintiff or venues? And was the breach of contract him having to cancel things because of court dates? Thank you. I thought it did because I hadn't heard anything, but I also forgot to check the docket because I didn't write it down and 3D World took over. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's intentional procurement of contract breach, various music venues failed to perform its obligations under the contract. So is he going to sue the music venues as well for breach of contract? Or did they pay out anyway? Obviously, they thinking that sentence out loud. Sometimes when you say things in your head and then you say it out loud, it's like I answered my own question. The various music venues failed to perform its obligations under the contract, so they had a breach of contract. They obviously didn't pay out after the breach of contract. Otherwise, he wouldn't be talking about the damages. A plus B equals C. But is he going to sue the venues too? And this is where, is this targeted at just one person to get the result he wants instead of suing everybody and wasting time, effort, and money in years and years of litigation and not seeing a whole lot? It's a plaintiff's damages include loss of the benefits that would have been realized from the performance of the contract, loss of business opportunities, loss of revenue, and other economic damages in the amount to be determined at trial. Plaintiff has been damaged in an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than $25,000. And his, so they want compensatory damages for attorney's fees, lost wages, damages for emotional distress, anxiety, humiliation, and reputational harm, damages for contractual benefits and business opportunities, damages for loss of revenue resulting from the breach of contract, and all other damages proven at trial, and punitive damages in the amount sufficient to punish defendant and deter similar conduct in the future. Pre- and post-judgment interest, cost of suit, and such other relief. And David Osborne is his lawyer. So I mean, there's just certain things when you look at this that like more questions come up than it sent the it's federal. Ooh. We'll have to talk about that separately because I also don't want to put your family in yeah. I'm reading your first message that you sent me. Second opinions are always there's a reason to get a second opinion. So I will look at those documents, but I will also talk to you because I don't want to dox your family or anything like that. But but I also want to bring attention to the bullshit, because if people aren't held accountable, they keep doing what they're doing. Yep. Ugh. All right. With that being said, that's kind of all I wanted to go over today. Things that I will look at in the future with this is I want to look more into what was said at the original trial, any documentation I can find from the original trial, or from the original case, text messages, anything that's been reported about Brian Newland's involvement in the original case. Was he the one? When I say involvement, I mean he asked for more money than most of them. There was a few who asked for like $400,000. He was one of the only ones who asked for $1 million. Why did he ask for $1 million when other people wanted less money? I'm trying to put this one lightly. Brian Newland's brother is on the list, allegedly, was charged with things involving people under the age of 18. And that is there something true to their nature? Or is it just hearsay and speculation? Thirdly, and I'm trying to tread lightly on some of these issues because they are very sensitive topics in more than one way. Also, the $400, that's on its face is the seems like the obvious reason why he would be suing this deputy, former deputy, as the case will be. However, this had nothing to do with the $400. If you look at the actual counts, there's nothing in there about theft. Interesting that he put out in his public statement, I'm suing the officer who stole my money, but doesn't actually talk about the $400 that was quote unquote stolen in this lawsuit. Also, proving lost wages. This is what interests me about this case. One, I like to see people held accountable for their shitty acts, and especially frivolous lawsuits. So the touring schedule. What were the contracts? Who were the contracts with? Were they confirmed performances? For each date, what I'm looking for is things like, where was he touring before and after each hearing? Was there if you look at the before and after, is it back-to-back days? Or is it like every other day where it's plausible that there would have been a natural occurring gap for travel where he would have been able to do a court hearing without canceling a show? Were other artists, if he did cancel, were other artists substituted? These are all things that I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the answers to, but my spidey senses kind of go up when these things happen. I just, you know what I mean? And when he did cancel, did he lose money for canceling? Was there a cancellation penalty? Did he have to refund the promoter or the venue. Travel expenses. These are also things that could be brought into damages. And merch sales. That's a hypothetical, whereas, like, I paid for a plane ticket already and I'm gonna have to cancel it. Or I paid my tour or my tour bus driver, and now I'm out that money because I paid him and he didn't work. It's calamari senses. This is just how my brain works. Like, when I hear things, my brain instantly goes into OT mode and I break it down. I'm like, okay, he canceled a tour or canceled one tour date. Well, canceling a tour means like canceling a tour date means canceling with the venue, but you have promoters, you have ticket sales, you have paying your people to set up and break down your equipment. You have drivers to drive that equipment from wherever you store it from one location to another. You are paying all those people. So those are lost wages because you still have to pay those people for all the work they did, even though you didn't actually get paid. So you lost money. My brain breaks things down. My professors used to call it OT mode. You take one task and you break it down into all the different parts. And that's how my brain works when I hear all these different things. And I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? It's like, okay, it's one central topic, but now 4 different questions I have. So these are things that I don't always have the time to look into before I read a document. And it takes a lot of research, but now I have time. So we're planning on working around like a research schedule too, because I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning now. So I'm hoping to get streams set up early so that they can be out. I probably stream around 10:15, 10:30 every day. That seems to be the time where I can like get stuff done after and get stuff done before, but not be rushed either direction. So car line is interesting. I will bring my headphones next time because yesterday, if you did not check out Spawn's stream from yesterday, Ashley Reiber was on with Spawn yesterday as well as My Pretty. And I made a special appearance from the car line because I sit in car line for 45 minutes. So there is that. However, tomorrow, Spawn will be with me at about 10:30. We will be going over part 3 of the Parker's Murdaugh rabbit hole. We will be looking at who knows who. And I have my notes right here. So I'm going into to my notes. So looking at who knew who, what their connections were. We have part of a deposition that we will be looking at, which I was listening to when I was working a couple of days ago, and I got confused royally because things just weren't adding up to me. With that being said, I am going to redirect you over to Mr. Coop. He is talking about Hales. I can't remember his exact topic, but it popped up on my notifications. So I actually got a notification for him. The judge just ruled 3 court filings in 4 days. What the Hales guess? D spills the tea. So y'all go over, you tell him I said hi, and I will see you guys tomorrow on this channel for another episode of Heather Fell Down the Rabbit Hole. Try not to be a twat waffle, and please hit that like button before you leave. Please subscribe, and if you haven't subscribed to my other channel that is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, that is Evidence Through Motion. We are 28 away from 500. It is a great day. We will hit 500 and we will get that channel monetized eventually. Like, hey, Brian, how are you? Y'all have a great day. And like I said, try not to be a twat waffle, please. Bye, guys.